In speaking with science faculty about primary points of difficulty that their students encountered, the very first issue raised in all of the sciences involved the concept of the scientific method. Students were confusing an idea with a hypothesis with a theory, and the faculty asked us if we might be able to develop a game that could help students master the concepts.
The Colmena team came together and developed a series of iterations of a game that matched 20 questions with the board game Clue, the card game Gin, and the social game Who Am I?
I've Got a Theory is a game involving 2 decks of cards, element cards depicting different elements from the periodic table, and attribute cards representing primary attributes of the various elements, such as their symbol, their atomic number, their atomic mass, and their physical state at room temperature. An element card is randomly dealt to each player and blindly revealed to all other players. No player knows the element they are dealt. That player's goal is to discern what sort of element they represent by making a series of declarations of hypothesis based on observations they have made and receiving yes or no responses from opponents. The language of the hypotheses declaration is important. Players who do not form their question properly do not receive an answer and so forfeit their turn. This specific language is written out on cue cards to help players master the method. Declaration of hypothesis is phrased in the following way. I have observed A, B, and C, and so I hypothesize that my element has blank. If there's any dissent or confusion among players in regard to how a question should be answered, players are encouraged to explore outside sources, such as the internet, a textbook, or a teacher. Any discussion, however, must be clandestine in order to keep the player posing a hypothesis in the dark. The game's primary victory condition involves identifying one's mystery element with an equally specific form of question. Once a player is sure they know what their element is, they wait their turn and declare, I have proven that my element has the following characteristics, A, B, and C, and so therefore present my theory that it is blank. Meanwhile, attribute cards are drawn, traded, and discarded with the goal of properly representing a player's mystery element in their hand. These attributes help players focus their line of questioning while also providing an opportunity for extra points at the end of the game. With this system, players are compelled to get the most details about their element as they build a strong hand, but recognize that time might be running out as other players grow closer to developing sound hypotheses toward a solid theory. Here, the role of strategy enters the game, and the competitive nature of play helps engage the players more deeply with the subject. In the end, I've Got a Theory helps students understand the workings of the scientific method while also learning more about a given subject. By using elements from the periodic table, students familiarize themselves with some characteristics of many of its elements and can begin to build a scientific vocabulary.